one of the functions that will be very useful as you're exploring your data, as you're seeing how many individuals responded a certain way, as you're checking your work, if you've recoded or scored a variable, is the table function. So we're going to still work with this mtcars data set, and the function is exactly as it describes. So we can use table, just regular table, please. And what we will tell it is what we want a table of. So we can, again, have a table of the count of cars that has each type of cylinder. So if we run this, we get this right here. So it tells us that 11 cars have 4 cylinders, 7 cars have 6, and 14 have 8. That's well, fine and dandy, but what if what we actually wanted was a proportion? Maybe that would, be more useful to us and our data analysis. So we can actually wrap the table function in another function called prop.table. And so we'll start cylinder. There we go. So the prop.table function is here. It takes as an argument a table. So that's why we have a repeat of the table, and then we're still asking for the cylinders. So when we run this, rather than getting counts, we get proportions of cars that have 4, 6, and 8 cylinders. Something else that we can do with this prop table is create percents. So if we paste that, because I'm lazy, I copied and pasted, and then we simply times it by 100 and run that, we get percents. So you can see that they're the exact same, just multiplied for you, so then you don't have to do the math. And this is nice because then you can reference it later. So if you were doing an analysis or something and you wanted to specifically reference aspects of the table, you would be able to do so. Especially, if you saved this as an object like this, we can save this as an object. Or even what we can do is save it, save it as a data frame. Like that. Then we see this is what we get when we do that. So we say here's the levels that we're looking at, so 4, 6, and 8 cylinders, and here's how often they appear. So if we wanted to use this for something else, that's just a way that we could use it. Something else we can use table for is to create a crosstabs. So, we saw how to do a table with just one variable, but what we can also do is add a second variable. So maybe we'll use this. And the result is a table like this. So cars that have 4 cylinders, and this value for the VS there's one of them. There's 10 that have 4 cylinders and a value of 1 for VS, etc., etc. And just like with the regular table, we could still do a prop table or a percent using this crosstabs table to get the proportion of our total data set that fall into each of these categories, as well as the percent.